Welcome, everybody. We are very excited for this new episode of the To Be Determined podcast. Not for much longer, I will say. We are joined with the usuals, Sam Cookie, H Double, Maddie B, the trio. We've also picked up a fourth person, a fourth special guest for this podcast episode today. We have Martin, Hunky Fredo. Welcome, Martin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the flesh.
In the flesh. He wanted to come hang out with us today. He is our special guest. He's a very bright and exciting mind. He knows a lot about baseball, so I think he wants to talk about baseball for a bit. It's our starting topic today. So, Charles,
we could just admit we don't really have a set plan. This is kind of the first time we're going into this blindfolded. I mean, we kind of have a plan, but like we normally are very structured with it. So luckily we have Martin to take the slack off for us and carry the podcast. But yeah, Martin, we didn't even tell you that we're well, maybe I did tell you, I can't remember, but we're changing this podcast from no notes to something classified we can't say on air yet, but we'll tell you off air. But yeah, we're changing the name and logo, we're doing a new logo, all that good stuff. So that's what Sam meant by TBD podcast, to be determined. So just so you know.
It's going to be the Bubble Blowing Boys podcast.
The Bubble Blowers.
The Bubble Blowing Boys.
That might be a good name, actually.
Matt campaigned hard for that one.
He did.
Yep, yeah, so, that's me.
Matt,
I was more of a Splatoon Boys, that was good.
Oh, Splatoon Boys. I'm all for that name too.
I think, yeah, we'll just go right into baseball. I mean, we could have, I think, a good starting topic, the Cubs. Martin, that's your team. Talk about them a little bit.
So we're about, roughly about a month into the season so far. A lot of cool things have happened so far. It's been kind of weird because the Rays, they started out, was it 13-0, was it?
14.
And 14-0, and they're the hottest team in baseball right now. I don't really understand it because everybody's pretty much platooned on that team. But they're going off right now. Randy Arozarena is holding his WBC form, carrying that team. I think the Rays are actually probably a favorite to win that AL East this year. And I know that's kind of crazy to say with the Yankees and all that there. And another team that stands out so far, which I think is pretty crazy considering they had a really big pitcher who kind of blows that they just kicked to the curb, the Diamondbacks. I know. Matty B's favorite team, the Diamondbacks, right now. They're leading the NL West, and they got a shot. If Matty Bum could have held it together, who knows? The Diamondbacks could have been nuts this year. But yeah, the Cubs, they're all right. Third place in the NL Central right now. We're behind the Pirates and the Brewers, which I don't know. We're beating the Dodgers here lately this last 2 weeks pretty easily. So it looks good. I'm kind of hopeful. Maybe not this year, but next year. Maybe we're hopeful for something.
Well, the last episode we actually talked about the D-backs and Cardinals series, and Sam went into how the Cardinals had their early struggles so far, and it looks like since that episode they've lost 2 more. So they're what are they now? Let's see, 8-13.
8-13.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that series because the D-backs beat them 2-1. And so
the Cardinals are just in a weird spot because they've always needed pitching. I mean, the fact that Adam Wainwright is still their best pitcher and he's at the ripe age of 80 years old, that's not necessarily a good sign. But I mean, I don't know. I think I actually wrote something down for this. I think the Cardinals are one of my teams right now that I put at the top team as they're not performing well right now. I said the Cards and the White Sox are both had really good seasons to build off of last year, and then this year they've just kind of blundered it all away. The Cardinals have a lack of pitching, and then I think they rely too much on what are their names? Nolan Arenado and Goldschmidt. I think they rely too much on them to win games, and that worked really well last year since they were both MVP caliber 1 and 2. But it doesn't happen every year like that, so we'll see. Also, Jack Flaherty has just completely fallen off the face of this earth. Unfortunately, I really liked watching him play, even though he's a Cardinals player, but he is deceased.
Yeah,
his career.
He was definitely poised to be the guy when he got called up to start, but he hasn't looked great at all. At the start of the season, last season, he was somewhat injured. He was mostly injured for most of the season, and then the time that he was able to start, it was pretty lackluster. So, like Martin said, our greatest guy in our rotation is 42. I think cutting 43. It's pretty bad. I think it's time for Wayno to go. As much as I love him too, I don't think he has got much left in the tank.
Definitely not.
Did you, Martin, did you
Whoa.
expect the Cubs to have this good of a start, to be honest? Because I remember you telling all kind of offseason when we would just chat how buns the Cubs were going to be this year.
Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily. I think they're kind of going through a honeymoon phase right now. I mean, Cody Bellinger's on a 1 year deal right now. So this year he has to play well, or else he's not really going to get the contract he's been wanting. So I think Cody Bellinger will end up having a really good year, and I think all the other pieces that we picked up, I think we'll have a decent year. I mean, I'm not expecting like to win the Central, or I'm not really expecting to like win any wild card either. But as long as we can build off of last year,
That's a win.
I don't really care. Yeah, it's a win for me.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here, though. Cubs fans are still reliving 2016 over and over
definitely.
again. So,
but dude, if you look at the guys that we lost from the 2016 team, the only people that are still doing like the only one person that's still doing decent is Kyle Schwarber.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean Wilson Contreras too, but I mean Wilson Contreras, like on the Cardinals are having a bad year, so it doesn't matter how good Wilson is if the whole team is bad. But
he's not actually.
Baez was benched, obviously because of that really bad play that he had. Chris Bryant, I think he hasn't really been playing lately because of his back tightness, and that was like a really bad issue all last year too. Anthony Rizzo's killing it, but I mean he's splitting time at first base in New York, so it's like, how well can you really do with that? But I mean,
you guys can definitely have Contreras back. He's not been that great for the Cardinals.
No, I'm okay. That's all you.
I don't know if we want him.
I think St. Louis can keep him. They're the dummies that paid too much for him anyways.
I don't know. We're definitely at like a weird standstill at the catcher position. I don't think Contreras is it. We do have a really young guy that went up in our farm system, Andrew Kisner. He's another catcher that we have, but he is doo-doo. He cannot hit for anything.
He stinks. He stinks.
That stinks. Lane, I believe his name is Lane Thomas. We had him on our roster a couple of years ago. We traded him to the Nationals. I think he's still on the Nationals. He's actually balling for them, though. We need him back. Him and Carson.
I don't know. I think in general, like for Wilson Contreras, so I think he's a good catcher, and he will be a good catcher. He will be a better offensive catcher than Yachty ever was. But I mean, there's no replacing Yachty, so there's never going to be anyone good enough to be back behind the plate.
Yeah. Part of that is just accepting.
Just acceptance, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, this was something else you brought up, the thing about wanting to talk about. Which major free agent signings do you think have worked out really well so far, and which haven't worked out?
Dude, let me tell you. So the last time we did this podcast and we were talking about baseball, like before the season started last year, I completely dogged on the Rangers. I told them that they were so stupid for signing Simeon and Seager at the same time, spending $500 million on a middle infield that was going to give them absolutely nothing. But then, this year during free agency, they went out and they literally did exactly what they should have done. They grabbed 3 pitchers from the free agency. They grabbed Jacob deGrom on a 5-year, $185 million. They got Eovaldi on a 2-year, $34 million. And they also got Andrew Heaney, which those are insane, but those guys are a heck of a lot better than the guys that they had in their pitching rotation last year. I think that's pretty huge. I think those 3 signings alone, they're not major, but I think those 3 will probably be the ones that shake up the MLB the most. And then obviously Aaron Judge's 9-year, $360 million. Jesus, man, that's a lot of money. But man, I don't know anyone else that deserves it more than that guy, especially after last year. And then Another free agency, the marvelous misadventures of Carlos Correa, starting off in what was that? He started off with the Giants on like a
Yeah,
270 mil, I think it was. And then there was I think it was the Mets after that for like 240, and then now he's back with the
with
Twins
the
for
Twins. Yeah,
200.
in passes physicals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which kind of blows, but at the same time, like I don't know.
yeah, there's probably a lot that we don't know about what's going on with Korea. Like, I don't really understand what the Twins were. They probably know a lot more than we do, signing him back, but it leaves a lot to explain. Like, why didn't he pass his physicals? There might be some like underlying injury with him.
Yeah, well, I think what they said was there was a plate in his ankle or something like that, and that was just a cause for concern because it was like they didn't want to. You don't want to shell out like $300 million for a guy that if he takes a bad hit to the ankle or something like that, he's gonna be gone for the whole year.
Mhm. So
Yeah,
far,
yeah.
it's worked out for him though. I mean, them and that Joey Gallo signing in the offseason, it's kind of worked out. So good to
Oh
see.
yeah, yeah, and the Twins are always going to be nuts anyways. I mean, they kind of have a not nuts, but they're going to be a pretty good team just because they kind of have an easy division to farm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, they can put it together this year.
Very much an easy division.
Sam or Matt, do you have any free agent signings that you wanted to address?
Mm, I can tell you a disappointing one.
Yeah, let's hear
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
4 years ago, we signed Madison Bumgarner, and he's been cheats.
Oh my gosh. Matt is
We
down
already
in the
addressed
dumps
him.
about that.
We what?
We've already addressed him enough on this podcast.
No, I don't think we have. Because let me tell you what, his ERA is freaking 10.26 in like, was it 3 starts, 4 starts? Bro,
Hmm.
that's earned run average. That means that every time you step on the mound, that's what you're giving up. He's giving up 10 freaking runs. And somehow the Diamondbacks have come back and won some of his games, which honestly don't know how. But like, he's like, he just is not the same Mad Bum in San Francisco. And like, when we signed him, I was kind of like, oh, like this will be cool. But how this it didn't get me as hyped as like when Zach Greinke came from the Dodgers, because at least Zach Greinke was what, like 20, 28, 29, I think, whenever he came over from the Dodgers. So he was still like in his prime, you know. Um, was I believe when Mad Bum came over, because he's what, 36 now, I think. He was like 31, 32. And then Diamondbacks decided, oh, we'll give you 5 years, however millions of dollars. And I'm just like, okay, we already like a smaller market team, which I don't understand because Phoenix is like one of the biggest cities in the US, so like top 10. So I don't understand how Phoenix is always like a small market team, but whatever. Um, but we're like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. And now we have to eat 34 million in like payroll to pay Mad Bum. So to me, I'm like, this sucks. But at the same time, it does leave a hole open for like one of our like top pitching prospects to come in. I know Drew Jameson has been pitching and he's been really good. Um, and then I think it's like Brandon Paffold or something like that. He's supposed to be another pitching prospect that's supposed to come up. So he might come up earlier just because of Mad Bum. And honestly, I'm just happy for the Diamondbacks right now. They're kind of playing with house money. Like we're definitely like I think a fringe wild card team. Like we're kind of sneaky fast, all that kind of stuff. Our payroll is like super nice. Like we don't really have like too many like big signings. Like I know we signed Corbin Carroll for like I think it's like 10 years, like $111 million, which through the first 20 games looks like a steal pretty much. Because, I think he'll be probably one of the best players in the MLB within the next 2 to 4 years, I think. Um, but yeah, that's probably my worst free agent signing. Now, but when it comes to like just signings in general and stuff, I really do like our trade that we did with I believe it was the Mariners. We sent Dalton Varsho to the Mariners, and we got Gabriel Moreno and I think Guerrero Jr. or whatever, Gerardo Jr. or whatever. And so far, both of those guys have been like really good hitting. Obviously catcher, we're totally fine. We have Carson Kelly and him. So unlike the Cardinals, like we're stacked, which it's always good take
Kelly,
from the
that's old.
Cardinals.
That's old St. Louis name.
I know they wish they had Carson Kelly right now. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with that, but yeah, no, I think worst free agent signing for sure. Mad Bum this year. I think it's too early to tell because we're only like 20 games in. Now, if you ask me, like I don't know, halfway through the season, then we can. But I feel like you can't really tell if a free agent signing is bad or worse unless like it's been like 2 or 3 years because then they have like time to kind of prove it, you know. So that's why I'm gonna go. I'm going with an older free agent signing, and Mad Bum is freaking cheeks. I love the guy, but he's cheeks.
Oh, I mean, we could say maybe Sugar Diaz. His contract extension, I guess, could have been the worst, just because he hurt
That's true.
himself before the season even started. So
Oh yeah, fortunately, that sucks for MLB. I think too.
Matt,
yeah,
I
We're
will
talking
say,
about
oh, yeah, you go,
we're
Sam.
talking about Edwin Diaz, right?
yeah,
Oh, he celebrated and tore his ACL in the baseball classic.
yeah. He's a dummy for that, but whatever, dude.
I mean, that's part of the game, you know. But I feel bad.
I'm a Bears fan. I lost two of my linemen one year to celebrating after sacks, so I
That's
understand
true. That's true.
injuries after celebrating.
Yeah, put him up with the Lions with making dumb decisions.
Mm.
That could have been a transition,
Well,
but I think we got a little more baseball still. But
yeah,
You have some
just said a
baseball.
I
little
should have
more.
said that for a
I was gonna
transition.
say though, you know, because this ties in well to the next topic, but you know, Mad Bum, I feel like we all kind of remember him still for that dominant World Series against the Royals, and I think that's ever since then. I would say he hasn't been nearly as good, but that's kind of like kept him afloat, you know, and maybe helped him get that nice contract from the D-backs, you know, when he really didn't deserve it because of how dominant that performance was in the World Series, how he just shut the Royals out, won the Giants the World Series. But yeah,
I mean,
oh,
Mad Bum won in 10, 12, and 14. You know, so
yeah.
that helps too.
I
So,
just
and
I
he
just
was a
remember that
key in all of
2014
those.
one. That 2014 one, he was just unreal. I mean, he just killed the Royals. They couldn't hit on him very well at all.
I mean, if we're gonna be all nostalgic though, like Tim Lincecum and Mad Bum, kind of a nasty 1-2 punch, you know. And
Mhm.
I freaking hated being in that NOS with Tim Lincecum. Like, think about it. At one point, you had Tim Lincecum and Mad Bum. Then you had Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. Like, there's our four pitchers that you would say are probably like in the past 20 years, probably I don't know, top 20, top 25 at least in my book. Granted, I'm more of an NOS guy, so I follow them more. But like everyone wanted Clayton. Everyone probably would still love Clayton Kershaw. Then you have Zach Greinke, who just plays mind game, is the biggest troll ever, but is like super good. And then you have Tim Lincecum with his flow, intimidating. Love the man. Then you have Mad Bum. Like, I don't know. For me, it's just like I do feel like the Diamondbacks were paying a price on like the history aspect, like, oh, you've been there, so we want you, you know? And I think they did it because like, oh, we got Zach Greinke kind of like the same way, like kind of tail end of his career. But the two were very different when it came to playing for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
I think he's a really good postseason pitcher. I think he's always been a really like mid regular season pitcher, Matty Bum, at least. But
yeah. Like I said, I think that postseason value just had so much weight that came with him that made him, you know, maybe look better than he really ever has been
yeah,
as a pitcher. But yeah, I was gonna say because you know he had that dominant World Series performance. And speaking of the World Series, Martin, I'll start with you. Early World Series predictions for this upcoming year.
World Series predictions for this year. Jesus, man. I mean, I think you gotta hope that the Padres make it on the NL side, and I, honest to God, I wouldn't mind seeing like a Padres and Yankees, or like a maybe a Padres and Rangers World Series. I don't know if the Rangers can do it, especially with so many new pieces in their pitching rotation. But if the Rangers can make it click, I would love to see the Rangers in the World Series again.
What do you got, Sam?
Um, God, I don't know. It's definitely tough. World Series positions are way too early, I think, especially before the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Just when the trade deadline happens, I think that's when you can get a more solid idea. I think mostly this year I'm rooting for most of the same teams that I love. The Orioles have been great. They've had a fantastic start to the season, a lot like the Rangers. I always want to try to root for them. I always want to see the Angels make it through too. Shohei and
Oh,
Mike Trout, they absolutely deserve a way better team, and that's gonna really suck this offseason if Shohei just walks away from them. I love the Mariners a lot too. I think with the little postseason treat that they gave us last season, left room for a lot to be had. Still, it was a really big step for them, being a decade since they've even been to a postseason. But on the AL side, I probably have to give it to the Orioles. They probably have the brightest young team looking so far. They can probably be led by Adley Rutschman alone. He's looked like an absolute stud so far. As for the National League, it's too early to tell. I definitely don't think this is the Cardinals' year. As much as I want the Padres or the Mets to make it, have a deep postseason run too. I'd probably have to give it to the Pirates. I really have faith in this really young team, just like the Orioles. And whenever they have O'Neal Cruz coming back, Martin, like you talked about, really dumb injuries happening. O'Neal Cruz is one of them too. Made a dumb
yeah.
slide. I think whenever he comes back, though, they're probably going to make a deep run too, and that'll be awesome to see. So Pirates, Orioles.
Wait, so
I don't.
so
anything
you're saying
else.
your prediction is Orioles Pirates as of right now?
Yeah, as of right now. Well, I mean, it's definitely going to
Orioles,
change.
Pirates.
That could probably be a
That's
real
quite
cheap
that's
bet
quite
right
A
now,
unique.
man, a
Sam.
man can dream a little bit. Yeah,
That could be a cheap
Hey,
bet. Yeah.
hey, unlike the Lions, you can bet on that.
that is true. That actually does make for a good transition too. But I
Well,
will.
Whoa, I just
didn't
gotta get
yeah,
my
didn't you
stuff,
want
bro.
Matt?
Oh my gosh.
You don't want Matt to give his prediction, Sam? Is that what we're
No. I just said Matt should give his predictions.
okay?
What's your prediction, Matt?
That's not what I heard. I just heard, oh, we should transition, which honestly, Sam, shame on you.
Okay, well,
I
Yeah, Matt,
understand you're
give your
trying to
prediction.
show off and show out for
I'm
Martin,
so
and
excited to talk about the Lions.
Matthew's a seasoned veteran at this podcast thing. Okay, Sam. So you just
Yeah,
shut up
no,
and sit
I-
down.
He's
and we'll
been
let him
I
go.
Sam's been
can't-
disrespecting Matt's baseball knowledge, to be
I can't
honest.
be disrespecting my elders. No. No
yeah, bro.
disrespect.
Here's the thing. Everyone says my baseball knowledge isn't as good as Sam and Martin, and you know what? So far, been holding my own. So you know what? Sometimes I can surprise boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't have
Yeah, but
any
you're
doubts.
Matt. You always hold your own in anything that we do.
True. Well, when it comes to World Series predictions, that actually will probably happen. Um, of course, the Diamondbacks are going to make the World Series. No, just kidding. That's not happening. Um, if only it was 2001. Anyways,
It could happen. Though. It still could.
you're right. It could happen. Just like I could get $1 million tomorrow, but it won't. Um,
True.
I think I like Sam's point and Martin's. I do think the two deepest teams in the NL right now are Padres and Mets. And with the Dodgers looking like they are, and honestly, I feel like the Dodgers you see now are the Dodgers you're gonna get like after the All-Star break. Like just looking at their pitching and who they have, like they're obviously not as deep as a team as they were last year. Um, And so for me, I think this is a part where the Padres can really separate themselves, like in the standings. So later on they can have a little bit more wiggle room. So for me, I would definitely say the Padres, I think for me are probably the favorites to go to the World Series. And not because I mean, obviously right now they're not winning the NL West like the Diamondbacks are, but I mean they just got Tatis back. They have Bogaerts. I mean, they just have a loaded lineup. And then their starting pitching like isn't really that bad. Like I would say it's pretty good. Like you Darvish has looked pretty decent, and Blake Snell has been decent. Um, he just has to like get kind of back to like vintage Blake Snell. But yeah, I would say for me, NL's Padres, and then for the AL, I feel like the AL is pretty weak this year when it comes to like good teams. Like I think there's a lot of like great teams. There's a lot of good teams, but there's not a lot of great teams. Like in years past, the Astros have been a great team, or a couple of those Yankees teams have been a great team. I don't think there's a great team in the AL. I think there's good teams, and I think that's why Sam's prediction like the Orioles. Honestly, it sounds kind of weird because the Orioles have been trash for like ever, but like they're not a bad team. Like they're a good team. And since all the other teams are good teams, like they could totally win a couple series, kind of have all that kind of stuff. But when looking at it though, I feel like, and I know this is like I might be bandwagon guy, but I don't really care. I think a Rays Padres World Series would be cool. You have big market in San Diego, all the stars. Then you have the Rays, who honestly, for the past I would say probably 8 years, each time like, oh, they have a small payroll, they can't do this, they can't do that, and then it's like, oh, that's okay, whatever, we'll just win the division, and you're just like, what the like, okay, like whatever. Like honestly, if I was a betting man, I should have bet on the Rays, like I don't know, like all the time because they just keep saying, you know what, it's okay, whatever, we'll win you money if you bet on us, and it's like okay. So for me, I think as of right now, like if the playoffs had to start like a month from now, I would say it'd be Padres and Rays as my World Series, kind of what I think could happen and probably what should happen.
I think the Rays too are like they're one of those teams that they always seem to make the right like winning streak or the right run at the right time. So it's like, I mean, they've already proven that they can make it to the World Series, right? I mean, granted it was COVID year and it was a shortened season, but I mean, they've proven that they can beat those teams and they've proven that they can get there. So I mean, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Randy Rosarina to win a ring that he could never get with St. Louis
Man, yeah,
as a pinch runner
we've
and
we've
an all-star.
definitely made some wrong decisions. The Cardinals could easily be contenders this year too. Not to even be biased, but we've made some awful trades, getting rid of Rosarena, Carson Kelly too, Sandy Alcantara, the easy Cy Young of the A or the NL last year. It's kind of ridiculous thinking back on it, but oh well, we'll stick with our 42-year-old geezer of an
I
ace.
mean, it's okay, Sam. At least you didn't trade, Dansby Swanson and picks for Shelby Miller, so
That is true. That is even worse.
yeah. So definitely probably I would say probably top five worst trades like ever. And I remember where I was when that trade went down. I was in Springfield, Missouri, taking a number two, a deuce, and I wanted to die. I was like, bro, we just drafted this guy. He's gonna be so good, and then we get fetching Shelby Miller. I was like, bro, no one wants that. Like, there's a reason why the Cardinals said see ya and traded him to Atlanta. But hey, good for Dansby. He won a ring. Happy for him. Now he's with the Cubs, and he's been balling out for you guys. So, I mean, granted, like the thing is, like, just think about that infield. You have Ketel Marte at second, Dansby at shortstop, Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas. Like,
What could have
Diamondbacks
been,
had a
man?
good young core, but nope.
Could have been.
We said Shelby Miller, you're our guy, and then he was out in like 2 years.
There's all that, and then imagine a 2014 Mad Bum in that rotation. That is a team to beat.
That could have been the team to beat.
That would be the
If
team to
only, if only.
if only, yeah.
Matt's talking about the Diamondbacks more than Sam's talking about the Cardinals, which honestly shocks me a little bit.
Well,
Hey,
I
Sam
definitely
usually
haven't
always
been good.
talks about the
We haven't
Cardinals.
been good in like 5 years. Okay,
it's
like
yeah, as I was saying, the expectations year after year for a huge market team like the Cardinals or even the Yankees are always high, and they perform pretty solidly, but it's been a streak of a few years now since at least 2015 since we've done good but not great, So I'm kind of in a little funk, the team isn't looking that great for the future.
Good.
This is the first time in a while. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, like would I love to talk about Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling and the glory days with Luis Gonzalez and Diamondbacks? Of course, everyone would. But that was 2001. Like I was like freaking almost 4 years old. Like we haven't like made like we haven't had like a great playoff like kind of run probably since like when I went on my mission in 2017. We lost to the Dodgers team that made it to they made it to the World Series with the Astros. And I do have to say that the Dodgers and Diamondback series, granted, I was on my mission, but I kind of followed it. That was a great series, and like it sucks that like they had to play each other like first round. Like I think that could have been a second round or even like National League pennant type series. But that was with we had Greinke and JD Martinez and Goldschmidt. You know, we had the boys. And then since then, we've had nothing. And now we have a new generation of boys, you know?
A new generation of boys. Well said.
Of dogs. Sorry, of dogs.
Dogs. Got that dog in them.
Yes, sir.
I really don't believe the Cardinals have had a really great deep postseason run until back in even 2013. I know it's not even that long ago, but it's felt like a long time. I wasn't even the biggest Cardinals fan back in 2013. I was 15. I had no clue what I was doing. And the closest we've been to that was 2019 when we made the NLCS. But we got swept that series and we had no reason beating the Braves. I remember, I believe it was game 7 when Martin was actually over. We were watching that Cardinals game against the Braves. And
Dude,
they put up like an 11th spot in the first inning. It's like this game's
Jesus,
done.
dude. That game was crazy.
That was crazy. But yeah,
Well,
no. That season
in
felt like a
2013, that was Red Sox and Cardinals, right, for World Series.
yeah.
I was at game 4.
Were you really? Wow,
I was.
that's awesome. What were you doing in like Boston then? Because I imagine
I wasn't.
was in
I was.
Boston.
It was in
It was in
St. Louis, bro.
You assumed
Oh,
that he was in Boston?
Well,
for
that's
that?
what
No,
I
it's in St.
imagined.
Louis.
When it's
That's
in
what I
St.
imagined.
Louis.
Noted, this is also the same guy that's a huge Patriots fan too. So I can
Why
see
take
him
why
around
take the
Boston.
4-hour drive to St. Louis when you can just hop on the plane
You
and
can
go
just
to
hop on a plane in front of Boston.
I like how Sam just assumes, bro, what are you doing in Boston? It's like, nah, bro, it's October. I got school.
I automatically assumed.
I did want to, yeah, as well as
And
Sam.
Sam, when have I ever talked about Boston Red Sox baseball?
Not Red Sox baseball, but I meant more like Patriots.
Now, here's the thing: if the Patriots won the World Series, of course I'd hop on the plane and go watch.
You would go.
But
heck
it'll
yeah.
never happen.
For that. Okay. So I wasn't
Yeah.
too far off of my prediction then.
Yeah, you weren't too far off. If Patriots were in, I would definitely go to Boston for World Series for sure, 100%.
Good.
I was going to say, though, Sam.
That game was good though, so it is a fun experience. But yeah, I think our middle school years, that was the last I remember the Cardinals making like deep runs, like 2007 when you guys beat the Tigers, and then from like
That was
2000, like 11, 12, 13, you guys you made the World Series in 11 and 13, and I think were you NLCS in 2012 and lost to the Giants, I think. So
Yeah, we
So, yeah.
actually no, that was 2014, but well,
2012 and 14, you would have lost the Giants because they won the World
20
Series.
yes. A lot of really good postseason runs, but yeah, we were all in middle school, so it came and went. I'll say that.
I was going to say, though,
we were,
Sam, as
we were
being
in
a.
middle school, so we were concerned about how far they could hit the ball, not how many games they could win.
That's true.
Yeah, I was
Bro,
going to say,
I was
though.
just worried about playing the touch football, kickball, and recess. You know,
Yeah, playing Foursquare.
I just want to see how many times you can interrupt Charles. I think that should be fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel bad for Charles now.
Charles, you had the floor.
Okay, so yeah.
So
anyways,
anyways,
I
like
was going
I
to
was
say,
saying,
Sam.
yeah, no,
Sam,
no,
I was going to say, well, being a Cardinals fan, yeah, that felt like a while. But hey, I'm glad you guys got your what you want to say in. But I was going to say, as well, what's kind of probably frustrating is like the Cardinals, like they've been good, like you said, but not really great. And it seems, they haven't had a losing season since what was it again,
2007.
And it's like they always kind of bring you in, like the cheese is there, they kind of nibble at it, and then like you kind of sneak into the postseason, or you have like late season run that gets you somewhere, and then you just fall flat on your face. So I feel for that, because that's been the theme like the last like 5 years with them, I swear.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
a lot of
remember, what
broken
was it,
promises.
2019, and they were like not good, and then they just got extremely
They-
hot and
Yeah,
like
they
won
didn't
like
even feel- it didn't
insane
even
amount
feel
of games to
real.
end the year, and then I think they missed the playoffs by like a game or something. So just got your hopes up for no reason.
Yeah, no, that didn't even feel real. We
But-
had no reason to barely even be in that postseason. This was before Arenado. Goldie was pretty fresh in the Cardinals still. Yeah, no, it was kind of a fluke season, I think.
I think the Cardinals are just a fluke in
A
general.
lot of broken promises.
But yeah, okay. We think we good on MLB?
Dude, Sam's talking like that, and his team's only been bad for like 5 years. My team was bad for 100 years.
You weren't
And the
even
thing is,
alive.
I never,
You weren't
I
alive
never
for
talk,
those
I
years.
never talk about my Cubbies like that. That's crazy, man.
okay,
That's crazy.
but
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is the Cardinals aren't even that bad because they still finish over 500. You know what's awesome? And I hold to this day, 2 years in a row, Diamondbacks finish 81-81. You try to do that. You can't. Best organization in baseball.
The Kings of Mid.
And even
Yes.
Martin brought it up. I think this Cardinals team could definitely get hot and make a run, honestly. So like you shouldn't really be complaining. They've got a lot of talent still on
Oh
offense.
yeah, I can't.
Dude,
I
they
can't
have a boatload of prospects too. So it's like even if they feel like they're in a win now situation with the team that they have the prospects to go out there at the deadline and get some insane pitchers.
We do, yeah. Not that I'm totally out of this Cardinals team, but a lot has to be done before the trade deadline hits, and before then, I would have a little bit lower hopes as a Cardinals fan. Expectations are high, definitely, and we have a lot to work on. Jordan Walker, I absolutely love him. I always bring it up every time we talk about baseball. He will probably pick it up later in the season. So there's just
Cardinals fans shake my head. This is what Cardinals fans are like. So I'm not a fan. They
okay.
don't realize when their team, they still got good teams. They're just like, no, we
nothing
blah blah
pleases
blah.
me.
Yeah, they complain about everything.
Hey,
And you have the Diamondbacks fan over here that's excited about 81-81. I'm just like,
yeah,
let's go.
I'm just saying, at least I'm not a fan that gets excited over signing like a 36-year-old mad bum. He's way over his head.
Whoa, I never got excited.
I think D-backs fans were a little excited when you guys first signed him.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, yeah, because Matty Bum was a big deal whenever his first year.
Oh, he's a very big deal, yeah.
Yeah, well, and actually his
Yeah.
first year he wasn't bad. I think his ERA was like what, like a 3.5 or something like that. Like, which wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the valley of the sun, there's not much to get excited about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There's just the sun.
yeah.
There's just the sun.
There's just the sun.
Suns also.
Buck and Katie looking kind of nasty this
But
playoffs, not gonna
we
lie.
didn't really have basketball on the agenda. We had football on
No,
the
we
agenda
didn't.
though.
We did have a little football on the agenda.
And speaking of football,
Because Sam loves
Detroit.
when NFL players make dumb decisions.
Well, I do. I always love to have it happen, but I think the start of the headlines that we have to talk about. I'll let Matt talk about it a little bit because he's a big gambling man. I think he might.
Oh yeah. I feel like Jameson Williams and Quentin Tevas, I think they've been listening to our podcast, our gambling section, bro.
They might have.
I think we're the ones that did them in, honestly.
They took some
feel like-
inspiration from you, from your little betting segment.
Yeah, so I'll take some blame on that. I'm gonna put pen to paper. I'm gonna write Roger Goodell, telling it's my fault, and I'm sorry. So hopefully he accepts it. He seems like a very reasonable man. I mean,
Oh, very much so.
he gave a lot of suspensions to TB12 for deflated balls, which didn't make sense. But he's a reasonable man, and we love Roger Goodell.
Yeah,
in the Shield we trust.
He's actually going to be a few hours away from most of us in a couple of days for the draft.
That is true.
So might have to drive up and say hello to him.
Bro, we might have to
You might have to
deliver.
go up there and shake his hand.
We might have to hand deliver the letter and say, hey, because of our podcast, we force them to make these decisions. Like, give us a suspension.
Yes, exactly.
For
Like,
NFL,
we were being a bad influence. I'm sorry, Roger. Please forgive us.
Ban me
They are
next
good
time,
men.
not Quintez.
Exactly. Don't
Yep.
deserve it.
But Quintez Cephas, Jameson Williams were the two bigger names. I believe there's an O lineman on the Lions too that got banned indefinitely for betting.
It's only for a year. First Cephas in the O lineman.
No, there wasn't an alignment, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it was
Or no, it's a safety. It was a safety.
Oh, a safety. Okay.
yes.
I'm pretty sure.
And then two wide receivers for the Lions.
Yeah.
And then or three technically. Yeah, three wide receivers and a safety. Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't really know who, but I think a couple were banned indefinitely because they were betting on NFL games. and some of the other players were betting on like college games and other sports, so they were only banned for like what, a year.
No,
Still, it's
6
kinda weird.
games.
No, 6, yeah.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Jameson Williams and Stanley Berryhill, 6 games, but it was not NFL. But I know there's rumors. I don't know if there's official what they were betting on, but it wasn't the NFL. That's all we know. So
And
the other
It was
guys,
college. It was college games, but they said that they were betting from like the Lions facility, so therefore that's why they got
yeah,
like the suspension that way.
okay.
yeah, that's
But
what I
here's
heard.
my thing, and this is where I go back, and I know this is going back to baseball, but Pete Rose used to bet on games, but he bet on his games for his team to win. My thing is this: if you're betting on your team to win, I don't see the problem with it. Like, you want your team to win, like, why not earn some extra cash? You know what I'm saying?
But I think
Okay.
I think the problem
Okay,
that they
Matt.
see though is if you're willing to bet on yourself winning, you'd also be willing to bet on yourself losing. Because if
Not
you're
me,
betting
dog.
on yourself, if you're betting on yourself anyways, then you already have that gambling problem.
Yeah, I
Hey,
think that's what
you know what they
the
say with the contracts and everything, bet on yourself. That's what they're doing. Hey, they're practicing what they're preaching. Isn't that right, Charles?
Yeah.
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 I think as
Sorry, I was
as
reading
like
something like that.
I think as
I didn't
like
hear what you said.
athletes, I think
I don't
athletes
think-
should be able to like bet on games like within their sport and stuff like that. But I feel like they should
Yeah.
never be able to bet on things that have to do with them, I guess, like their games or bet on games of like teams in their division.
So the question, do you think that the betting rules should change? Do you think they should be able to bet on like MLB games or NBA games or something like that? Or
Definitely,
I don't
definitely.
I don't think that would really be an issue in my eyes.
so then my thing is the college sports one, right? They said it's college football. It's because of like they were placing bets at the Lions facility, correct? Like that's the reason why they got the 6-game suspension.
Yeah, and I know that some staffers of the Lions were fired too, so that might have been with them doing it. You know,
Yeah.
they could have been with the players when they were doing these bets because they got fired last month for violating the gambling policy. So
Could have been
You
like,
know,
yeah, I guess
yeah.
like personnel was like swaying them to bet for certain games, stuff like that, maybe.
and they all did it, yeah, at the facility, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if that was exactly why. It very well could be. If it is, that's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird if it was because they were at the facility that they got that 6-game,
Mhm.
suspension.
yeah.
but-
For those players that got the 6-game suspension, they should just double it. Should try to see if they can double it. I mean, they're already gambling, right? They should just see if they can
Double it and give it to the next person.
Yeah, double it and give it to the next person. Go all or nothing.
Double it and give it to Jared Goff.
Jared Goff didn't do anything wrong. No, don't put hate on Jared Goff's name. He's the golden child.
I do think it's a little though.
Dude, Sam would trade Patrick
betting
Mahomes
such.
for Jared Goff any day.
I
No.
absolutely would.
Wouldn't you, Sam?
I'm just saying, there's no better person I could think of in this world that could hold the play card for Mahomes than Jared Goff.
No,
He's
no,
like-
no, no, no. I'm saying you're trading Patrick Mahomes for Goff.
Oh, we
He's the
wouldn't
golden child.
trade him. We wouldn't trade him. Definitely not.
Wait, so you're going back on him being the golden child?
Oh no, Goff is still the golden child though. Mahomes is just really good at football.
So he's not as good if he's not the golden child.
No, he's not as good at
So
holding.
then why wouldn't you trade Mahomes for
Well,
Goff?
at holding a clipboard though. Mahomes is very good at throwing football. He's way better than Jared Goff, but he's not as good as holding a clipboard as Jared Goff is.
Who's the Chiefs' new backup quarterback? Didn't they just sign one?
Yeah, they did.
Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert, yes.
Yeah.
Ew.
The Blaine Gabbert.
University of Missouri alum.
Yep. Yes, sir. Next we
Jeez.
see Drew Lock as a number 3.
That's tough. I'm sorry for your loss.
Except Mahomes went to Texas Tech, but it's close enough to Missouri.
I do think the suspension or the gambling kind of policy is maybe a little harsh, but I think it might come down to, they're at the highest level. The NFL is a business at the end of the day, and these guys represent the NFL. And so obviously image is, very important. And so when you kind of have that image of them gambling on their sport or gambling on other sports, when there's the athletes who work hard and they play hard for the teams and they try and win, and they're a role model for all kids out there and all that. I think that's kind of where it also ties into why it's at, like the gambling policy and other rules are where they are on these athletes. And I think it kind of, that's why athletes, struggle a lot, I'd say, with maybe mental health, because there is a lot, everyone's human at the end of the day, but there's so much more on them. They're under a microscope, all that stuff. And so I definitely think, and a lot of these guys, I know Jameson Williams for sure. Obviously, he was picked last year, so he's young. He was a rookie. Cephas wasn't that much longer. So these are younger guys still, 22, 23, 24, like around our age, making these decisions. And a lot of people, bet. So I just think, I mean, it's obviously unfortunate, but I think it's definitely a learning experience. And I feel bad, for the, these guys involved. And so hopefully they can come back from it. But yeah, I do think it's a little harsh for sure, but it's just that whole athlete persona that they have and that they have to represent the NFL in the light that they want them to be. So
yeah, I agree with Charles. It definitely creates a bad look with like a gambling addiction. I mean, they obviously wouldn't get punished if they were caught eating candy or something else, because that's obviously harmless. But when you see players like betting on other sports for real money, like that would definitely create a bad image for a bunch of all the kids growing up that are watching them playing as role models. So that's definitely not something that the league wants to see.
And I think just the term gambling maybe has a little bit more of a negative persona than it can be because of gambling addictions that a lot of people go through. But, a lot of people don't have gambling addictions. But since that is a thing, I think gambling has more of a negative light than, what other people, it's different for everyone because gambling addiction is real and it does, hurt people. But so that's where that thin line kind of, for the NFL in this case is where that, I think that's where it gets crossed in their eyes, because like I said, it's just representing their image. And so gambling kind of has that negative connotation to it because of gambling addictions that, a lot of people go through. So that's where I really think it comes down to for something, these decisions and those rules that they have in place on gambling. So, but yeah, I definitely think Detroit obviously was up to something. So those, I mean, four of their guys all eventually gambled. So the staff, whatever staff was influencing that, good thing they're gone. So
yeah, I want to see Dan Campbell speak out about it. I want to see him like beat some players up over it. Get angry.
Bite some
Extra
kneecaps.
episode of Hard
Yeah,
Knocks.
bite some kneecaps off.
Hey, it's Amon-Ra season for the first 6 games. So
It's true.
Bro, it's Amon-Ra season for the first freaking 17.
Write them down on your scorecards for the fantasy football draft.
I keep joking with Autumn. I'm like, because she's going to give me a hard time about the Ravens offseason, which is valid. But I keep joking, like, well, to help us out, can you trade Amon-Ra to us? Like, we'd take that. And she's just like, no. And I just keep joking about it with her. Like, you should trade Amon-Ra to the Ravens.
No,
But,
you guys have an absolute primed OBJ on your team.
Yeah, see, it's a good transition.
I'm just
real quick before we go to OBJ, I just want to say I did draft Amon-Ra like 5th, 6th round in the fantasy draft this year. So big dub.
I mean, I guess if we're going there, did you win though? The whole thing?
Oh, that's right, Matt.
That's really all that matters at the end of the day.
I did because I beat Sam.
I'm not even the winner. I've never even won fantasy. So
exactly.
Anyone who beats Sam is a win. So Martin, you won too. You won the season.
Invalid argument.
I'm always a winner.
No. The person that won our fantasy football league last year is not even talking with us today. So we'll have to save it for maybe when he can come onto the podcast and give his thoughts.
Wasn't Artiga? No, it was Kevin.
Kugon.
Right?
It was Kevin. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though, he's more of just he's not really a sports guy. It's more he's kind of trained himself to be one of those fantasy football guys without really knowing sports that well. Yeah. He's just gotten really good at the game of fantasy instead of like knowing football, So
it's kind of
he deserved it. He'd been close like the past 3 years. So
that's true.
He's always had good teams.
He obviously knows something that I don't, because I put so much time into fantasy football and my team always struggles and barely makes it to 500, and I've only made the championship once. I've never won though.
It's because you're an actual football fan, so you grow attachments to your players even when they suck, like I do.
I know. I need to be more like Kevin and just turn my brain off, and I need to
robotic.
Dude, I started Kyler Murray almost every freaking week.
Yeah, you did.
Oh
Every
no.
I
week,
just want to
every
say,
week, Kyler Murray had 5 points until the fourth quarter, and then he would blow up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm a huge football fan, but did you see any Patriots on my team last year? No, you did not.
That's true. Sam did
You-
draft 4 Patriots.
Hey,
What?
you got to leave the
Four
feelings
Chiefs,
out the
man.
Or
door.
Chiefs. Or
Yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah.
Or yeah, that's
They
right. That's right.
actually did pretty well too. Like that's
No,
No, they did.
bad
Well,
argument.
besides Mahomes, but whatever. You drafted him way too early, anyways.
Oh, well, I also drafted Sky Moore. He did really good last season for us. He just wasn't really good like fantasy.
Well,
yeah,
okay, yeah. I get what you're saying.
yeah.
And he was a
Everyone
rookie,
sucked
so
fantasy wise.
We're talking about fantasy though. Yeah,
well,
this
he
is
was still
Sky
a
Moore,
rookie, so
Pacheco had his
you didn't really tell.
games, yeah, but like
Pacheco was
fantasy wise, they all
amazing.
suck,
you didn't even have
Pacheco was
Pacheco on your
amazing.
fantasy team.
dude.
Bro, you could have drafted
Somebody
anywhere. They were
scores
all
9 points for Sam, and he says amazing.
Oh
That's
my
how bad he is.
They were all rookies, man. It was a gamble
Well,
to start.
Well, speaking about fantasy, it seems like the Ravens have a fantasy of signing Lamar, so they brought in OBJ. How are the thoughts on OBJ, Charles?
Well, like with the new news that came out.
Everything. You give us your whole
Yeah.
rundown on OBJ, bro. This is your problem now.
I mean, we talked with Sam and I did on our when we did us two, and we talked about OBJ at the end. So I kind of already laid out my thoughts on it. So I won't go too much into that, but I'll recap it real quick though. It's a 1-year prove it deal. I mean, if it helps keep Lamar, I'm in. If he sucks, I mean, if we're not on good terms with Lamar, we're gonna have a bad season, I feel like anyways. So like he's only on a 1-year deal, so I'm really not that mad about it because we just let him go after this year anyways. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I think we've also been struggling with our receiving core. I think Bateman still can be something. He just hasn't really been healthy, which that's an issue. The biggest, asset is durability, I feel like, and he's not been able to
The
stay on the
Ravens, yeah.
field. But like the start of last year, he was off to a pretty good start with Lamar. He only played in 3 full games though, like that he was healthy, and that's it. And he had like 2 touchdowns and like 300, plus yards. If he kept that up, could have been at 1,000, for sure. But so I think he could still be something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's the new news of OBJ being named a suspect in assault, which was an LA hotspot where a woman went to the police claiming that OBJ put his hand around her neck, but he claims that that's all bogus and the police hadn't contacted him, I guess, is another thing I'd heard. So yeah, who knows, honestly. It's one of those he said, she said things, I guess. So if he does get found guilty, then that definitely sucks for the Ravens. But yeah, I mean,
I hope it does work out for the Ravens though, because I think if Lamar, just kind of like sucks it up and says, "Fine, whatever, I'll do this 1 year on the franchise tag," and I think the Ravens always needed like. I mean, OBJ is not the superstar that he once was, but he still commands a lot of attention on the field. So it's like I think a superstar wide receiver like OBJ would be is a great fit for them. We just gotta hope that it all meshes together.
Like, honestly, for me, I would love it if the Ravens traded for like DeAndre Hopkins from the Cardinals. Like, that would be fun because then you get like a really good receiver. You can go up, catch balls, whatever. But then if you have OBJ underneath, right, with Mark Andrews and Lamar's running ability, like that's kind of hard. It's almost like, okay, who are you gonna choose, And I do have to say, I think bigger news for sure is the Jalen Hurts extension. Like he got 200 million guaranteed. Lamar wanted more than that,
well,
but you got a younger quarterback, went to Super Bowl, should have won MVP over Mahomes. Sorry, Sam. Should have won MVP, and his guaranteed was 200 million.
no,
And so I think for the
his was
Ravens,
179.
sorry,
Or
179, right?
right around there, yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah,
Well,
so
it was an
200 million
extension,
is like
wasn't
the
it?
thing. $200 million extension, but 179 guaranteed. And as the Ravens, like it's like, okay, that's now the market. Like, and I think they said they offered him 200 million guaranteed. Don't know if that's true or not, but let's just say they
Yeah,
do.
that's what.
At that point, if Lamar says no, then if you're the Ravens, you're like, okay,
Oh,
we're gonna move on.
I would move on. Yeah, that was another thing. But I will say, I don't know if that's the market yet because I think Joe Burrow is gonna get more for sure. than what Jalen Hurts got, but Jalen Hurts got a nice contract. But yeah,
Oh,
Lamar got
definitely.
offered. So this was before the season, I guess. So you know how there was a report that it was like they're over 100 million off in guaranteed money. It was like 133 was the number. So this is the report that came out like earlier this past week, which 133 was, I guess, the signing guaranteed money. And then it was up to 200 million guaranteed, though. That's what the Ravens offered Lamar back in September. And Jalen Hurts got 179 for this contract, 250 million. Lamar's was like 230 million, I think, total. But he got almost 200 million, up to 200 million guaranteed money. And he denied that. So that made me a little like, wow, he really did deny that contract. Which, of course, it's all comes down to that Deshaun Watson contract. Because at that time, Lamar's like, I deserve what he deserves plus more. So, yeah, but
Yeah, I think the Deshaun Watson contract too screwed up the entire
yeah,
everything, like all like the whole market, because like that's a lot of money to be guaranteeing somebody who did what he did and have all those cases on you like that. Like I think that was a bad look, but it's like now everyone's like, oh, this guy's been out of the league for almost 3 years and he's getting this much money. I should get double that.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I
If
think Lamar
Lamar,
Jackson's
yeah,
great, and I think he's worth every penny that he'll get. I think he takes this. I think he should take this franchise tag, whatever. Use it as like a prove it. Use it as like a prove it deal. And maybe they do make it to the Super Bowl and they do win it, and then maybe he'll get that big contract that
yeah.
he's been wanting. But
If
Like
he
Joe
he's
doesn't,
Flacco all
gotta.
over again.
if he does not sign, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of, rumors saying what if he doesn't even play on the franchise tag? And like, with how, I mean, of course, we got to see after the draft. I think that's if something's going to happen this year with another team, it'll be after the draft because then everyone will have their picks. So then those first round picks will be for the next year, right? If nothing happens, then I think he has to play because if he sits out, his value the next year, league year, isn't going to be better, really, if you think about it. So I feel like he has to play if he wants to get the money he thinks he deserves. So we'll
Do you
we'll have
think
to
he has
see what
a no
happens.
trade clause? You think? You think? What if you think if the Carolina Panthers come out of nowhere, give them the first pick?
I would not mind that, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think if Lamar's going to go anywhere, I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I don't know if a team's going to come in or not. I don't know. It's a mystery. I really don't know. But Sam, you've been quiet for a bit. Got anything you want to
I was gonna
say?
say,
I mean,
you really don't know, Charles.
No, I don't.
You really don't.
realistically it could happen though, instead of taking the 50-50 gamble on a draft pick, all these teams that are in the top 10 going to draft a quarterback, instead of taking the 50-50 on a possible bust in the draft, they could just slide that pick with a few others, get somebody like Lamar. I mean, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of possibilities here, and I would actually love to see Lamar Jackson get traded like on another team. I think that'd be
That would be
pretty
pretty
cool to see
wild.
a really big blockbuster trade like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty
A
wild.
guy who's pretty much deemed untouchable get traded.
Like it'd be fun. Honestly, it'd be fun to see like the Colts. Like think about if you had Pittman. You know what I'm saying? Like you trade, like the Colts traded. You know what? Say screw it. We want a proven quarterback. We trade the fourth pick and something else. A couple other picks for Lamar.
Here's the thing, like, someone like Lamar doesn't. He's there for teams to try and get. Like that doesn't happen every day. A quarterback that has done what he's been able to do and the skill set he has. That doesn't happen every day. And it really makes you wonder. Like I said, I think it might be a play on the draft, but there's really been no traction on any teams with Lamar from what we've heard. And like I said, we've been talking about this. We've said this a bunch of times on this podcast. It comes down to him not having an agent. That really, I think, makes it hard, especially in this type of situation, for him to maybe negotiate with other teams for a potential deal. Is just not having an agent. And that's obviously made the relationship with the Ravens a lot worse than it could have been if it was an agent. This put a big strain on it because he has to hear everything that they say about why they don't want to give him what he wants. There's no agent to buffer it. And so I've been saying Lamar needs an agent. I think everyone's basically been saying that, but I don't think Lamar's going to do that because that's not what he wants to do. So
He's
but
got to
I
go
think
get
it's
the
really
lady
hurting
that
him.
Jalen Hurts has.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Whoever that
saying.
lady that Jalen Hurts has, she
Yeah,
is
she's been really good.
pretty nuts at what she does.
She's Bailey Zappies. agent. So I think Bailey Zappi's the next star. I've been telling Matt that
he's the next one up.
he's the
Absolutely
next
not.
Patriots great.
He's the next TB12.
Absolutely not.
Brady Zappi.
Yeah, BZ10, bro, or whatever it is.
BZ4, yeah.
BZ4, open
Well,
for business. You know what I'm saying?
How we doing on time, Matt? It's been a while now.
We're
Yeah.
at an hour, like
I
right
was-
now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we hit the hour mark.
Oh man.
So
That went by that actually felt like it lasted a while. It didn't feel like it went by super fast, which is a good thing. You know, because I
So it
didn't
looks
want it
like
to just
So
fly by.
who's
Yeah.
giving us the outro then? Does it have to be the Punky Prado?
yeah, I was gonna say we should let the guest do it.
All right, Martin, you hit us with an outro, yeah.
He's got a man.
Is there anything else?
Do we want to just touch up on the boxing or we just end it here? Because there was the big
We
fight last
could-
night. Matt wants
we
to end it.
can-
I think Matt wants to end it.
We can't talk
Because
about
then
the
it
boxing, I
gets-
guess.
Because then it gets Martin back on the podcast again.
That's true. Yeah, don't let.
But by
don't let Martin
by
go.
then the
Oh,
boxing-
trust me. Me and Matt have been texting almost every day about the Europa League and Champions League.
Oh, thank you for
there's a
reminding
lot more
us.
to be. There's a
Oh,
lot more
Sam.
to be talked
Yeah,
No.
about.
Sam,
No.
you have a deadline. Did you do that? Sam, okay, so Martin, Sam has to pick a team in Europe, a soccer team, professional soccer team, because Matt and I did this like back in August. I picked Brighton, Hove and Company, who's actually not doing too bad, as like my team.
Isn't
And so
Brighton
Sam
playing right
has to
now?
pick a team. And we literally said today you have to do it. So
I have to pick a team.
if you
Okay.
don't, Sam, you're gonna have to do a punishment, like maybe
I
play Clash of
did. I
Clans
did
for a
actually.
week.
I actually did a whole lot of research on this. I looked at the players that I love the most. I like Barcelona a lot.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's such
Brighton,
cop-out.
Brighton is actually tied right now with Man U.
I know
0-0.
Matt's been loving it. Matt's been loving Brighton's season, so it makes me happy. Sam, that's such a cop out.
Man, what? Okay, what team should I have said then?
No. Hey, it's fine. He can be Barcelona. Just know Bayern
Yeah.
Munich owns you. Just saying.
Okay.
Well, why Barcelona?
Whatever you say, Matt.
What are the reasons?
Yeah. Why Barcelona?
Just give us a good
Uh,
answer, and you'll.
I
we'll
like
get
the
a-
color red on their shield. They have a little Sweden flag. That's
He's
on
not,
their
looking at the
badge.
Google images.
what?
It's a badge. It's not a shield.
Okay. Well,
We'll keep going. Keep going.
I like words that start with the letter B too. I think that's pretty cool.
What? Oh my!
Like us.
Oh my god!
Like us too. We're the boys. I think the boys is a pretty good.
He said of all the letters in the alphabet,
B.
a red
The letter
B.
B.
That's the
is
one.
Good. The letter B is it.
Bro, no wonder he likes me. My last name's Breckenridge, bro.
That's right. I wish my last name started with a letter.
Did you truly put in time to decide a team, Sam? Yes or no?
No.
It's pretty,
Yeah.
Sam, I think you might do a punishment.
Man.
I think we might have to give you
if there's a
punishment.
team.
Sam,
if you-
by next episode, you have to actually choose a team. Charles has chosen a team. Martin has a team.
if-
I have a team.
If you guys
You have
find
to have a team.
If you guys find a team that like Travis Kelce and Mahomes will walk up and like do a commercial to endorse them, maybe I will.
I mean,
garner-
other than Sporting KC, I don't know.
Can I pick Sporting KC? I thought it had to be
That's
like
MLS though.
Europa
I mean,
team. Yeah, not MLS.
It's MLS.
but no.
There's
yeah,
a,
you got to pick a European one.
there's a STL FC now too.
Watching MLS soccer is like watching AA baseball. It's like it's not the same.
I guess I can see
it's not.
that.
All right, Sam,
Uh,
if you do not have a team by next episode, you will have a punishment, and that is a guaranteed fact.
Just
That is
go look at
Charles'
just go look at
guarantee.
Yeah.
go look at the Premier League teams and go find a Premier League team.
Okay. What about Liverpool?
You could choose Liverpool if you want.
You
Alright,
can't do it
cool.
right now. You gotta actually put some time
Yeah,
into
no, you
it.
got to put
And
in research.
You
No,
can't
just
say
tell us
that,
why you
yeah.
chose them.
Yeah.
Assignment completed. I like livers.
No.
Makes
No,
me-
What
just
in
stop.
the-
No,
I like
we're
swimming
done.
Pools are
Martin, hit
great.
us with the outro.
We put
Get this
little-
guy out of here. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Bubble Blowing Boys or whatever we're calling this podcast. It was a lot of fun this week talking about baseball, football, and Sam, of all things. I guess we will catch you guys next week on another episode. Peace out. See you guys.